Hey everyone, it's Mr. Dufour again. So we are in lesson two of analyzing two literary texts and looking how themes are compared between both of the texts. So for the first part of the lesson, it required us to reread this excerpt from chapter 9 of The Great Gatsby. We did this last week. But for today, we're going to annotate for some big key ideas or that refer to goals in the American dream. So that's what we're going to do on this excerpt for today. So I'm going to go ahead and reread the excerpt again. Last week, you wrote a summary for each of the paragraphs to summarize the big ideas of what was going on with the text. And we also looked for those unfamiliar vocabulary words. So I'm going to go ahead and reread this just to refresh our memory. Here we go. I spent my Saturday nights in New York because those gleaming, dazzling parties of his were with me so vividly that I could still hear the music and the laughter faint and incessant from his garden, and the cars going up and down his drive. One night I did hear a material car there and saw the light stop at his front steps, but I didn't investigate. Probably it was some final guest who had been away at the ends of the earth and didn't know that the party was over. On the last night, with my truck packed and my car sold to the grocer, I went over and looked at the huge, incoherent failure of a house once more. On the white steps, an obscene word scrawled by some boy with a piece of brick stood out clearly in the moonlight, and I erased it, drawing my shoe raspingly along the stone. Then I wandered down to the beach and sprawled out on the sand. Most of the big shore places were closed now, and there were hardly any lights except the shadowy, moving glow of a ferry boat across the sound. And as the moon rose higher, the inessential houses began to melt away until gradually I became aware of the old island that flowered once for Dutch sailors, eyes a fresh green breast of its new world. Its vanished trees, the trees that had made for this house, and once pondered in whispers to the last and greatest of all human dreams. For a transitory enchanted moment, man must have held his breath in the presence of this continent. Compelled into an aesthetic contemplation he neither understood nor desired, face to face for the last time in history with something commensurate of his capacity for wonder. So, we're going to look at our summary ideas again and kind of annotate over here for these. Just to do a recap of our learning, kind of this idea of what your kind of close to what your summaries should have looked like last week. The first paragraph, this narrator is sad about a neighbor who is no longer living there. The neighbor appeared to have large parties. So this guy, this person, that lived this big luxurious lifestyle, something must have happened to him, right? And the neighbor's not too sure of what may have happened. So we're thinking about that in terms of, you know, he no longer lived there. Okay, that was one thing. And then he appeared to have large parties. So the narrator is obviously, I'm going to go here. Let me get my highlighter. He's sad. He's sad about something. Something happened that he's really, really upset about. So thinking about his sadness. Okay. That was the first part. So let's move on down. Okay. Summary. The narrator is moving away and goes to the abandoned house next door to sit on the sand. So right here, you know, I think in this summary right here, he's contemplating what happened. Why is the neighbor suddenly gone? Okay, so that's one idea. All right. So the narrator's moving away. He goes to the abandoned house next door to sit on the sand. So grab another box. The abandoned house next door. So let's think about that as we continue down, okay? Summary, last paragraph. As he sits on the shore, the narrator thinks about the wonder of Dutch settlers first arriving in America. Now, this here gives me a big idea about the American dream because our founding fathers, a land of a liberty and the pursuit of happiness, giving every immigrant an opportunity to come to America and to uh, work, make their work's worth, and earn their keep. So I really think about that's like the ultimate American dream. So I'm gonna I'm gonna make a note here because we're thinking about theme in the American dream. So he talks about the wonder of settlers first upon America. And now I wanna go over here and just make a notation of what he might be referring to here. So what is he referring to? Okay, let me go back over here. Okay, so America is built on value and opportunity, a land for all to live in happiness. Okay, so I'll make that note here because I'm thinking about immigrants, Dutch settlers first arriving in America. Now, this part here, we're looking at dreams and goals, and this is what we're annotating for, right? So it says here, the metaphor of a flower is used here to show the promise of new life, right? The promise of a new life. So we're thinking about in instances where there's there might be um there might be people in other countries that are trying to leave. They might be trying to leave their country to come to America and promise of a new life, something that would be better for them, that they can live a life of opportunity and be able to be equal to those that they live around. So that's the big idea here. It's like the idea of hope and a new life. So make another comment over here on our box. Okay, the American dream is about hope and prosperity. In some cases, people think wealth is, some people may think wealth is the ultimate goal, but ultimately, some may think happiness is the ultimate goal. So, this paragraph reveals how dreams and goals come from hope. How do they come from hope? And I want you to think about this. How do goals and dreams come from hope? And I want you to answer that when you're doing your annotations. How do goals and dreams come from hope? Okay? So that metaphor of the flower, something that's blossoming, something that's growing, something that's starting new life. That's the idea. That's the theme of American Dream. Okay? Dreams and goals. This passage discusses the power that dreams have over people, which probably is very true. Like if you have a dream or you have a goal, um, you'll go through the process to work hard for it. And I think that's ultimately what we think about American values is things that are built off of hard work and that people that work hard for it. For example, people who start their own businesses that start from nothing and then work their way up. That's an example of the American dream. So I'm gonna do my little highlight. I'm gonna do my highlight here. Okay. This passage discusses the power that dreams have over people. So I want you to answer. I'm going to go down here again and make another comment. All right, and these are some questions I want you to think of answering in your. You should be using these comment boxes and these markup tools to annotate on your passage. So answer this for me on your excerpt here. How does the power of dreams affect individuals? Okay. Seeing the new world is described as kind of a magical moment that transfixes the dreamer. So, what does he mean by that? Something that transfixes the dreamer, this magical moment. Um, so, he said here, the tree that had made for his way house and had once pondered in whispers to the last and greatest of all human dreams for a transitory enchanted moment, man must have held his breath in the presence of this continent, compelled into the aesthetic contemplation he neither understood nor desired, face to face for the last time in history with something commiserate to the capacity of wonder. So what was he trying to say about this, you know, this man and this neighbor once living in a life of luxury? Did he his neighbor actually was his neighbor actually happy? I think I want to go ahead and put that note here. Like, was the neighbor's narrator's neighbor, oops, sorry guys, technical difficulty. I'm going to edit again. There we go. Was the narrator's neighbor actually happy? Do you think he really, do you think he ultimately found his American dream? I want you to answer these questions. Like, you should try to, as you're annotating, this is me interacting with the text. You should be having a conversation with this text. Okay, so I want you to ask your own essential questions and trying to answer them. So this is the model of annotation. I want you to try this on your own. I will be looking for your annotations in your excerpt. So please make an effort to do so. I'm going to be looking for how you're asking questions and putting ideas down on your margins here. So we will be using these as we read our other texts and doing a comparison for theme. So hope this helps. If you have questions, let me know. Thanks.